Unraveling the phrase, "Why I oughta."
Hello everyone! Today, we're going on a linguistic journey, exploring the fascinating world of idiomatic expressions. Specifically, we're going to delve into the origins and usage of a phrase that has undoubtedly tingled the ears of classic movie buffs and sitcom fans. Why I oughta. Let's get started.
What does "why I oughta" mean?
First things first, let's understand what this phrase means. Why I oughta is a shortening of expressions like, why I oughta punch you, or why I oughta teach you a lesson. It's typically used in a context where someone is expressing frustration or anger and threatening some unspecified retaliation. The threat is often left hanging in the air, creating a sense of suspense or comic effect. The phrase implies that the speaker is restraining themselves from taking some action due to their annoyance or anger.
Where does the phrase, "why I oughta" come from?
The phrase, why I oughta, traces its roots back to the golden era of American radio and television. It's a phrase that's often associated with classic comedic acts of the early to mid-20th century. One of the earliest and most recognizable instances of its use is in the comedic routines of the Three Stooges. This trio of comedians starred in a series of comedy short films in the 1930s through the 1950s. The phrase was frequently employed by these characters, often as a reaction to some kind of slapstick violence or aggravating event. This phrase became an archetype for this kind of humor, which relied heavily on the implication of off-screen violence or retaliation. Because these threats were rarely followed through, the phrase also took on a humorous element, signifying a certain harmless, blustering indignation.
How has "why I oughta" evolved?
While the phrase, why I oughta, might be considered somewhat antiquated today, it has remained a part of pop culture lexicon, cropping up in various forms of media. This is primarily due to its nostalgic connection to the golden age of radio and television comedy. You might find it used in modern TV shows or films as a way to hark back to this era, or to add a certain comedic effect. The phrase also serves as a fascinating example of how language evolves. The incomplete threat that forms the backbone of the phrase, why I oughta, is an excellent example of how phrases can become codified in a language, with the full meaning understood even when words are left unspoken. So there you have it. The phrase, why I oughta, serves as a unique piece of our linguistic history, transporting us back to the golden era of slapstick comedy. While its use may have dwindled, its influence is far from forgotten. Thank you for joining us on this exciting exploration of language and history. We hope you've enjoyed this journey as much as we have. Until next time, keep exploring and keep learning.